I don't know if it's going to sound terrible or not, but like, there's just some kids that are not cut out for it.
No, those are facts.
And
everybody can't be a winner. Oh, Okada, sir.
Mr.
My brother,
Okada,
my
what's
brother.
going on?
Mr. OK. I'm
Mr.
your host,
OK.
Mr. OK, my other host here.
You haven't come up with a name yet, huh?
You got me.
Not officially. Some of the names that came up are probably not suitable for audience.
Wow, that's how to see. It'd be your own people.
You know what it is though?
It'd be
It's
your own people.
Nah, it's not that. We're so close that I'm comfortable calling you certain things,
Okay.
but they just might not understand it.
Okay.
Right? Because we're boys like that. We're brothers.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Right? Brothers can come to blows and then still go play video games.
Yeah, there's a code.
There's a code, exactly. So in this, and as one of our earlier episodes, remember I was like cancelicious, made that word up?
Yeah.
We're in that cancelicious culture, right? And if you come off looking too smug, you might upset some people.
Yeah.
So trying to avoid those situations.
You know, I might have like resting smug face, apparently.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying.
They have RBF and RSF.
Yeah. Apparently.
Man, you got a Russif?
A Russif. I got a Ribbif. Yeah.
Yeah, nah, but all seriousness, I will come up with some sort of suitable name.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try to come up with one when I do, and hopefully you will pass it. And hopefully it won't get into the cancelicious territory or in the smug territory, but we'll get there when we get there.
Okay. All right, Mr. Okada.
Mr. OK for now.
Mr. OK.
Everything's okay. But sir, we're back for another episode. I felt like it's been a while since we've touched the whole coaching dynamic.
Yeah.
We both have children. We both have kids who are in youth sports. Right now, you're taking a break from coaching from your long marathon of coaching before. Right?
You forgot the words much needed.
Much needed break from coaching.
Yeah.
Because you went through an entire marathon series of coaching, back to back to back, multiple seasons. So this is a good, nice little break for you. So I want to kind of get your thoughts on how this new feeling is like before you dive back into it at some point eventually.
Well, the back to back to back was, I was like Jordan in the 90s.
Ooh,
except I didn't take a break then.
There you go.
But so it's been interesting. It was much, much needed. Just too much going on in my non-podcast life. In the real, I call it the real world.
The real world.
It still feels like this is like some other dimension.
Yeah, it does.
Though, we generally are recording on the weekends and, but like real life happens.
Right.
Monday through Friday, like that's the real world. And then this fantasy life of resting and then also having to dedicate time for this plus youth sports on the weekends. And so, yeah, it doesn't feel like it's the same reality as Monday through Friday.
It's an alternate universe that we step in.
Definitely is. But no, it was much needed. And I think for me is, and I'll probably weave this into some of the things that I could believe that you'll probably talk about with regards to some of the stuff that you're currently doing with you coaching. But I will say that the biggest change for me has been recognizing and knowing that, like, all right, I need for my son to have a different voice. Right. Okay. So since he started playing, he has only ever had me as a coach, whether that was, so I went basketball last winter to spring flag football where there was another coach, but I was still I was still an assistant. So like dad was still there. And then we went right from flag to you and I, where we were co-coaches. Right. So dads are still there, straight into football where I didn't intend to coach as a head coach. I wanted to sign up as an assistant, and I was hoping I was going to be like one of 5 assistants so that like he got multiple, but then I ended up being a head coach and I had a couple assistants, so he at least got to hear them, but still it was like dad's the head coach. Right. And so I knew going into this winter basketball and whatnot that it was like, all right, he needs a different voice. Right. Because there are certain things that I'm struggling with him on, specifically is, his mental toughness. Right. He's tough. right? I mean, as a smaller kid and some of the things he did on the football field and being able to take that and continue to keep going, like he's physically tough and he could play through a lot, but it's how does he stay mentally tough and focused?
Right.
And especially when the refs aren't making calls, that's the one that gets him the most.
Bro.
Refs are the one that gets him the most, and he feels like he's being cheated and he just unfortunately loses focus. So like wanting him to hear a different voice, I think has been the biggest one. And so I've got to enjoy the role of being a parent on the sideline. I had to learn how to work the scoreboard.
So you're a bleacher dad.
No, I worked the scoreboard twice.
Okay.
Twice in 4 games.
The first time's a little bit nerve-wracking.
The first time I said, y'all are putting way too much responsibility on me right now. Like I may be pretty, I gotta be careful how I say this. I may be pretty good at my day job, but this scoreboard thing, like y'all just asking for too much now. Y'all are asking for too much. Like this is out of my realm.
It's pressure, man.
It is pressure, right? But I got the hang of it. Did better the second time. Third time we were there late. They already had somebody. Okay. By the time we got there, like right before tip off, and yeah, so it was just it's just nice to look at it from a different perspective and be able to kind of see that, one game he fouled out. That was an interesting, different dynamic of watching it from that perspective, but also to refs. So right. That was a rough game all the way around. But so that's the biggest thing for me, was just wanting him to like.
So right now he's playing basketball.
He's playing basketball and he's doing winter track. It just actually started. Well, we weren't able to make it last week when it was pouring down rain, but it started for him this today, a few hours ago actually. And but that's really just like, it's not like the spring track with meets and stuff. Sure. It's really just introductory practice. Yep. Yeah, introductory. Learn the different events, techniques, etc., and get kids ready for conditioning wise, getting them ready for the spring session. So TBD whether we do the spring. I just wanted him to have an opportunity to get used to it, see if that was something he'd be interested to do, especially because he wants to play wide receiver. And I mean, how many wide receivers have gone and done track in their lives? So it just, but mainly even it just was, he needs to hear a different voice and realize that, oh yeah, some of the stuff that dad is saying is also being repeated by these other coaches.
Dad may know a little something.
He might
maybe.
He may not know everything. He knows a little something.
Right. And it's the same thing I tell my son. Hey son, no matter what you hear, where you hear it, the principle remains the same.
That's right.
Right? The principle always remains the same. And he's so tired of hearing that from me because it applies to multiple sports. There's overlap, there's correlation to like track and football has correlation. But the principle of mental toughness stays the same. Yeah. Right? Whatever sport you're playing, a ref is a ref. You don't get the call. What do? You check out while you're complaining. Guess what? In basketball, at least, when you're complaining, guess what's happening? Right. The ball's moving that way while you're looking this way.
So I don't know if you're ready to get that deep into it yet or not.
No. So before that,
because I was about to say, because I have a lot more on that.
So I'm gonna pass it back to you. But what I wanted to talk real quick on a lighter note. Full disclosure: when they had me do the scoreboard or the clock specifically, I was like, yo, bro, what are y'all? Like, I hope the person sitting next to me doing the book, because there's a person who does the book and the person who does the scoreboard. Right. I hope this person has some experience with the scoreboard who can kind of guide me. Because the first time without full disclosure, man, I let the clock go when I was supposed to stop it. Then I didn't let it go just to kind of make that time up. But I was like, I hope no one's watching, no one's noticing that closely. I'm sure there was. Like, who's that idiot over there working the scoreboard, like the clock?
Why is the clock not stopping?
Oh, why is it not moving now? Like, so it was just a bunch of like that trial and error. But the great thing about it was that I was so locked in and trying to get this right. I wasn't stressed out watching my child play because I couldn't. From that perspective, it was a relief that I didn't get that stress. Oh, you should have done this, and I couldn't focus because I was so focused here to get it right. Yeah. So it had that. That was the other side of it.
So I had for the first time I ran it, I had about a quarter of that. Where first quarter I was just kind of like locked in, but then I started to like, all right, I'm feeling myself a little bit. I could do this. Okay. This ain't that hard. I make a lot of money. I could do this. Even though I'm not getting paid for it, that's okay. Yeah. And then, But we had a couple snafus. It was like at halftime, the first time I ran it, at halftime they came and the refs were like wanting to reset it with this and that. Well, they reset it with a shot clock. And so like we get, halftime comes and then I hit start for the next thing. And it started a 24-second shot clock. Oh. So 24 seconds into the third quarter, there was a...
Oh, man.
And then we figured out, I was like, okay, it's good. I didn't realize it. They came back over and they're like, yeah, we think that was just the shot clock was set. And make sure it's not set. Okay, great. Whatever. And then we were fairly good. But then they didn't tell me until like right before that. I don't know how it is for yours, but for ours, it's a running clock.
Yep.
The whole game, except for shooting fouls.
No, ours is if you're up by 30, I believe.
No, ours is a running clock the whole game, except for shooting fouls.
Okay.
Up until the last 2 minutes of the fourth.
Okay.
The last 2 minutes of the fourth, it's a stop on every whistle.
Okay.
And they didn't tell me until like right before.
Oh.
And I was like, but thankfully, my first game's the opposite of you. I had somebody running the books that was involved with the program, so he knew how to work the clock.
Okay, awesome.
So he helped a little bit. And we just made sure that our numbers, aligned, scoring, whatever, aligned. We checked in each quarter. But I was still able to get
a good hang of it.
Watch the game too.
Okay,
right?
Nice.
But my funnier story is the second time I ran it. The second time I ran it, which was the game he fouled out.
Okay.
And it got to, I think we were in the fourth quarter. It was completely different refs. And we got to the point of they were inbounding the ball or something. So just for context, there was one ref who at that point, for some reason, when he was watching a baseline. So if one of the kids stepped on the baseline or went out or whatever, his whistle was like 5-6 seconds long. It wasn't a quick whistle.
Oh, wow.
He was like,
oh my God.
And to the point where like, we were like, myself and the other coach and even the other team's coach, we're looking at each other. We're all like, yeah, we got the point. There was a whistle. It was just like this extended whistle for no reason. So anyway, there was like a foul shot or something, or no, I think it was somebody was inbounding the ball, but it was within that 2 minutes. And like, I just got caught up watching.
Oh,
and I didn't start.
Man. Oh man.
And then this long whistle, because he was the one that noticed it.
Okay.
And it was long, and it's like, the shot clock didn't start. And they come over or whatever. And I was just like, my bad. I got caught up watching.
I'll take the L on this one.
I'll take the L. Yeah. I'll take the L. I got caught up watching. Yeah. But other than that, it was like, because that's kind of fun.
Okay.
It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I just said, no, I'm good. Y'all have fun with this. I'm just going to watch. Yeah. I'm good.
Yeah, I told him if we ever need to again, I would have done it the last time. But again, we got there like right before. So he had already found somebody else to do the scorebook. But I don't mind the shot clock. The scorebook I don't want to do.
No?
No.
Really? I think it might be easier to do the score.
I think the shot clock, the shot was easier.
The clock?
Especially with a running clock. Like
running clock.
A running clock, like the only thing I got to stop it on is a
whistle
shooting foul.
Or a shooting foul.
Just a shooting foul.
Wow.
All other whistles, it just keeps.
Yeah, no, I see ours isn't that easy.
Yeah.
So, okay. Now let's get into the other side that you were going to get into about, that whole dynamic of, hey, ref, where's my call?
Let me just say this. So we talk about coaching, right?
Yep.
So, man, shout out to our coach. Like Dylan's coach, he's really, really, really good. I've seen him do his best to fight for calls, but also make sure that like he keeps it civil with the refs in the league, right? Okay. He's not embarrassing like our team.
Okay.
Because we talked about what we've seen on one of our previous episodes where the coach was on all fours on the floor, barking at the refs and the team and
getting ejected
in an all-star game. That's the wildest shit I've ever heard of. But no, so it's nothing like that. But I could also feel for him because like, there was like 2 back-to-back games where we should have won. Like, and we just had really, really bad one-sided calls. Really bad. I mean, when we had to do a makeup game and it was in a smaller elementary school gym. So normally we're in a middle school gym. Okay. We had to go to a smaller elementary school gym. And so like I was right in front of this one play. I mean, they just legitimately knocked one of our players just out of bounds. And no call. And I was like, and I'm right on the side, and I threw my hands up like, you got to be kidding me. So yeah, it was, it's fine. But I told the coach, looking at that and thinking about how his coaching style and his philosophy, I think he's doing a great job. But with regards to the mental toughness, there was I think the game that he got ejected in, before he got ejected, he got a couple of those bad calls and a couple of them were like one they called him for a push while the kid was shooting, but the other guy was the kid who's shooting, his teammate was doing a moving screen and pushed Dylan into him. Right? Like it should have been, I was at the score where I said, that's a moving screen. And then I heard the whistle and I was like, oh, good. I'm glad they called it. And then I hear, 11 white. And I'm like, what? What? He got screened into the guy. What is he supposed to do? That was rough. And I get it. Like I don't know if they get paid in our league or not. Sometimes they're volunteer. They get paid a little bit, but it's just like but he was started to get down and frustrated. Okay. And that particular game, like he looked like he was about to start crying on the court. And I was just like, that we just can't. Can't lose focus like that. You cannot. Right. Yeah. And he was losing focus because then his coach, like they were like, after one of the calls, he was just standing in the middle and like looking around. And it's just like he couldn't find where his guy was. He lost focus so much. And he's like looking all around. He cannot, his guy was on inbounding the ball. And then his coach like, Dylan, we're on defense. And he's like, and he just had completely, just lost it mentally. And I was just like, bro, we gotta work on this. And so that was our whole conversation on the way home. And so then coach reached out about the next game, and we originally weren't supposed to be there, ended up being able to make it. But I told him, like, this is something that we are trying to work on and something that he's struggling with. And I don't know if you saw it on the court, but from where I was sitting at the, score table, like I saw it, and it doesn't help you or the team. So he said he definitely understood, and he talks about that with his kids. So he was going to continue. And then the next game, I heard it. He saw where there was a moment where Dylan got dejected, and he made sure that he was like, hey, Dylan, forget about it. Next play. Right. And I was like, beautiful. Beautiful. So, much respect to him. But like, that was the moment where, I wish I would have got a video of it. That was the only regret, because I was working. I was working a thing. I can't get a video of it. But like, I really wanted to show him, like, I think you saw, just like football, when that one clip where he got frustrated and he was like stomping his feet because the refs called a penalty, holding on one of the plays. Like, you can't do that. All eyes are on you. Right. And again, like, he's 10, he's going to learn. But I'm glad he's learning these lessons now, but able to hear them from a different voice. Like, oh, it's not just my dad that's saying it. Right. Yeah.
No, and that mirrors so much with, because I'm coaching now. Right, I'm currently coaching. I'm coaching the next level up of the boys basketball team, youth boys basketball team, and I'm learning a few new things, or many new things. And we had a conversation about this exact topic with our boys about multiple things, but one of those conversations was about body language. Right, body language speaks volumes. You may not say anything, but your body language screams to everybody who's watching. And you as an athlete or as a person, whether you're in the office, at the supermarket, your body language is always emanating some type of message or energy about your facial expressions, all that. Now, if you're football, you got a helmet on. I can't see your facial expression from far away. But your body language will tell me exactly what you're thinking, how you're moving, how you're behaving, what's going through your mind. And there are multiple aspects of that. And we spoke to our kids about that. So when I'm watching another team, the team you're playing against, that's what I'm doing as a coach, reading those players' body language, because I want to see who is the weakest link, who we're going to go target. That's what I'm reading as a coach. So what do you think's happening on the flip side? They're reading all of y'all. They're reading who is the weakest link on this team. They're going to attack, and you're going to be the reason, the weakest link, we may lose. Now, do you want to be that guy? Second point to that is, if you are that guy, how are you helping your team? Your teammate, your brothers, these people that you play with, you choose to be on this court with, you're running down the court like this or whatever, like bobbing your head or looking up and flailing your arms or looking at the ref when the ball's moving that way, not getting back on your defensive assignment. Next play, if you have that much of a problem, go correct it, right? You made a mistake, go correct it. Ref didn't call it, it's not his fault. What are you going to do about it? You can't control that situation. You control your behavior. Go correct it. Go to the other side, correct it. Be a teammate, because that body language is also screaming to everybody who's sitting in the bleachers, whoever's recording. So think about it this way. You want to go play at the next level. I'm a coach who's watching. You have no idea I'm in the stands. You have no idea who's sitting in the stands. I'm a coach potentially there to watch somebody. Oh, he's on the bench, but he's behaving like this. Yeah, he ain't for me. You just killed your chances. Your body language you have to know that you're being watched at every single moment of that time. And as a coach, I'm even looking at the way you're after a free throw. Are you going and dapping your guy up, your teammate up? Are you encouraging? Are you on the bench celebrating loud? Or is your head down, you're checked out, you're not even focused? Your teammate falls. Are you going to go help him up? Are you the first one? I'm looking at all these things. Because that shows me camaraderie. Mm-hmm. Are they talking on defense? Because that's intimidating. But if I don't see it, now I know, that's the kid we're going to go after. Mm-hmm. Simple as that, right? That's one element of body language. We had a 20-minute conversation, one practice, and they're just looking like, we're just going to talk. Yeah, we are, because the message needs to get through, because that dictates everything else you're going to do.
Yeah. No, it's so funny because in the last game, we got our first win finally. And I remember there was a moment in the fourth quarter, and this was the first time we got our real best lineup in there. I was like, this is the line. I actually turned to the other kids' dad. I was like, this is the lineup. This should be the fourth quarter lineup. But I think I'm going to say something to coach. That fourth quarter lineup is the money lineup.
Okay.
So as long as we can get through quarters 2 and 3, we should be, I think we should be starting and finishing the game with that lineup. Yeah,
set the tone and end it.
Just set the tone and finish with that lineup. Because, we got 4 kids that can ball.
Okay.
Four that are there specifically, not just ones that are there to participate in an activity or don't have the skills and are just learning for the first time, because we have a couple of those.
Okay.
But these are the 4 ballers.
Okay.
Right? And so that was the lineup. But I did notice that, one of the other kids got a bucket and came down, and Dylan was patting him on the back. And I was like, that's my son.
That's what's up.
He from a body language perspective, he's a great teammate like that. Mm-hmm. He doesn't need to be the one to score all the points or, whatever. He will hype up all of his he wants all of his teammates to do well and celebrate and win together. It's just he's got a thing with the refs. And when things don't go his way, it's just
it's out of your control.
He gets down on himself. Right. What do I have to it's just. And so I guys got to overcome that.
And most kids are like that, I've noticed though. A lot of our kids are like that, right? They'll come to the bench and start crying, literally crying, because the ref didn't make a certain call, or now that so-and-so is in foul trouble. And I'm like, listen, what do you control? Mm-hmm. You control your attitude, right? Your behavior, your mindset. You can't control the whistle.
Right.
What do you control? And the other thing that tells me is that if you can't handle it, I may not be able to put you in prime time, fourth quarter, when you would want to be
Games
in.
on the line, right.
So we had a kid who, and granted, it's his first time playing, but he's got talent. I like this kid a lot. He's got work ethic, he listens. But, so in a game, he asked, and he was always volunteering to be in, do this and that. But he's taking shortcuts in practice. Right? So now there's that side of it. We had a conversation about that, right? If I tell you to run 17s, and every time you hit the line, you miss the line by, yay much. Mm-hmm. So first time I miss it by this much. Next time I miss it by again. And it adds on top of each other. Yeah. Right? And by that point, you kind of missed a nice chunk, probably about a half court worth of 17s. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, let's think about the kid that steps on the line each time. Now that kid's that much further ahead than you are. Y'all got to stop taking shortcuts.
Yep.
Right. One thing our teams are known for is endurance. We run the shit out of our boys, and their horses they don't get tired anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's what I noticed. Fourth quarters, we outrun the other team so bad it gets lopsided.
Yeah,
it gets lopsided. But even with that though, this kid kept turning the ball over constantly. The dribble, double dribbles, right? Double dribble. He got pressed. He got confused. Double dribble. Turned it over. I let about 7 of them go. And that's generous for me. Mm-hmm. Until I sat him down. I was like, now think about it. So I had a conversation with him after, not during the game. And he was upset because I didn't put him back in. But then when I sat with him and I explained to him, think about it this way from a coach's standpoint. 7 turnovers, technically all off of double dribbling. And this thing crossed his mind. His mom was there. She's understanding, right? So I explained it to them why I did what I did. 7 turnovers, potentially 2 points each, 14 points, right? 14 points potentially you gave up.
And on top of that, you're talking potentially 14 points the other way too.
Correct.
So that's a 28-point swing.
Correct. That's exactly what I said.
Hashtag math.
Right? So, and I was like, to think about it that way. Don't just think about it, oh, I'm turning over the coach. No. If you think from a game standpoint, trying to win standpoint, those points that you could have had, you converted the other way.
Has he gotten better?
Yes. So he may have been working. That's the other thing I tell all of them. Every practice, it's my mantra. When do you get better? You don't get better at practice. That's a fallacy. I got better at practice. No, you didn't. You learned how to get better at practice. You didn't get better at practice. Because you get better between the time practice ends and before the next practice begins. That's when you get better.
You get better when nobody's looking.
Unseen hours.
What are you doing when nobody's looking?
Correct. That's when you get better. And I told all of them, like they all just laughing. And I was like, listen, we've been around the game long enough. Like I know when one of y'all is working or not behind the scenes. I can tell easily. Because you come in the next time, you're doing the same thing. I know you ain't working.
Mm-hmm.
I know it. I've been around the game long enough. Like I played I still practice to this day. You can't tell me that you've been working and what I see doesn't translate or correlate. It doesn't. So you can say whatever you want.
Like I've been on this earth way more than you have.
Right. And my reps, you ain't probably never going to get to my reps. Mm. It's crazy. And I'm willing, and I'm comfortable saying that. I put up shots, tons of reps on many, many things. You ain't going to tell me nothing. I can read your body language, the way you dribble the ball. It's funny now because now I want to go to this other side. My son also plays for an AU team. They have 2 coaches. And to say our assistant coach doesn't have an ounce of basketball skill, an ounce of it. And the reason I know this is because when he teaches or tries to teach the game, he was teaching a drill. It was some like swing drill where you pass the ball back and forth, like at the top of the key. Mm-hmm. He was dribbling with the wrong hand. He was dribbling on the inside with his right hand because he can't dribble with his left. Teaching the drill incorrectly. My son turned around and looked at me because he knows it's wrong. And all I said to him was, listen, man, it's your coach. Just we'll talk about it later. I'll teach you the right way. But you know what I mean? Like if you're going to coach, you got to know a little something, just a little something. So with the kids, if you're going to coach like that coach did, the kid's not going to respect you. This is why I always make it a point. All right, we're going to play. Like you guys are going to play and I'm going to join one of your drills. Like, oh, coach got a little bit he can handle himself. Like he knows the game. He plays the game. He can, oh, snap, coach is cooking. Mm-hmm. Right? And then we play in the coach's game. So like, if you're going to coach, even if you don't know if you don't know the game to that level, you should have played even street ball at some level comfortably to be able to handle yourself, to know what you're talking about.
Well, but even not playing, I mean, I don't like that argument. And you hear a lot from players in the pro side, like, oh, these people, you never played the game. You can't talk about it, blah, blah, blah. But like, there's plenty of coaches that have been successful that haven't played the game. The point is that if you're going to coach it, then you got to know the game. You have to,
correct.
You have to be prepared. Right. So
you can't be teaching it incorrectly is my point.
Exactly. You got to be prepared to, if I'm going to teach this drill, I'm going to research the hell out of it to make sure that it's the correct.
But ain't nobody doing that.
I mean,
they're just coming off like, oh, this is cute. And the other thing I want to talk about, if you're ready to move on.
No, let's do it.
I want to talk about this whole concept of dad's my coach. Mm-hmm. Opportunities the coach's son gets. When the son, for example, like Austin Rivers, there was a big thing about him joining the Clippers because daddy's the coach. And it was a thing amongst those players like, oh, his dad's the coach. That's why he's on this team. Although he came and he proved it that, no, he is worthy of that position.
Well, and that's exactly the reason why I one of the reasons why that I did not coach
Mm-hmm.
basketball again. Like they were asking for coaches. I could have easily signed up to be a coach and had my own team.
There's always a
And
shortage of
Dylan-
coaches.
And yeah, like there's always a shortage of coaches. But I like not only was I busy in my real life, but like I was just like, I want him to have it. Like dad
different
can't always
voice.
be your coach.
Correct.
You got to learn how to play under different voices and different people.
Correct.
So you need to experience now dad not being your coach.
Right. And that's the other thing, like with dad not being your coach, is if you're going to be a coach, what my takeaway is, so one thing, like me as a coach for my son, I'm harder on him than anybody, right? Because that sets the precedent that, if he puts his son through these brutal, punishments, we're for a game too.
Yeah. It's like the
But if,
it's like the Bill Belichick Tom Brady thing, right?
right.
If he can go hard at Tom,
Correct.
go hard at anybody.
Correct. So, and I started to set that tone anytime I coach my son. And that's not always the case though, from what I'm seeing many places. There's a lot of this, it's the term I'm learning is called daddy ball. That's the term when the coach's son gets the pass. Coach's son makes a mistake. Oh, it's okay, next play. But if somebody else makes a mistake, should have done this and why didn't you do that and have a seat?
Just bad coaching.
Right? It's terrible. What standard does that set? What message is that are you giving to the kids?
So let me ask you this. Because you've been around enough, like you've seen enough tournaments and all of that. Do you think it's something that is widespread? Do you see it in other teams that you all play against potentially? Or is it not easy to figure out who the coach's kid is?
It's not as easy to figure out who the coach's kid is, but you get a general sense of someone's coaching style with the way they approach it. For example, if you're constantly, like, for example, you can see the energy, right, that a coach gives a mistake, regardless of who makes the mistake.
Right.
If your energy is consistent with every player making a mistake,
right, you don't know who's,
doesn't matter
right
at that point. But if your energy is different based on, everybody, and it's easy to see what kid is talented, what isn't, and like you can tell what kid is able to do what.
Yeah.
So if you start seeing inconsistencies, like I've had parents who have addressed their gripes about, coach treating their kids a certain way, my son a certain way, while giving other kids a pass who are less talented. There are situations where a coach's kid technically would never make the team if his daddy wasn't a coach, or I'm almost tempted to say, is this a pay for play system?
But that's what's crazy because y'all do pay.
Correct, but some of these people pay maybe to get their kids
they got
to
deeper
play.
pockets.
They may have deeper pockets, and just to get their kid the opportunity, right? It's a very, so that's the one thing I'm noticing about AAU, and I'm not a big fan of AAU. Just seeing what it is like, and just being involved and seeing how it's just a big money fest. There's a lot of politics, a lot of like personal agendas.
When did it get away from development?
When money got involved, big money got involved, right? There's a lot of big money in it, big money in it. And I feel like most of them start off with the right intention, but when those sponsorships come in and then, it becomes about those personal agendas, that's when I feel like the corruption comes in, it gets polluted.
I think the other thing you talk about daddy ball is that I think parents also, not even just with AAU, but like in general, as your kids are coming up into the 5th, 6th grade, like middle school to high school realm, like you're playing competitive sports.
Right.
So this is going to sound terrible. I don't know if this is going to sound terrible or not, but like there's just some kids that are not cut out for it.
No, those are facts.
And
everybody can't be a winner.
And so but it's not even just a winner. Like some kids are just there because their parents want them to be in an activity. Right. And to me, I think that hurts the other kids who are there to like really truly get better, be competitive, win, right? Like try to win a championship. Like it's hard if you got 2 or 3 kids on your team that are, and I'm not saying we do, but I'm just saying in general, like when you've got a couple of kids who are just there because, my parents signed me up for it. And like in some cases, it's just parents signing them up because they want them to have a physical activity. But like there's other things you could do for that too.
True.
Because I'm even thinking about football as well. And then there's some that are signing their kids up. And this is where I was going to go to circle back to your point of that are signing their kids up because they think that their kids are, the second coming.
Generational talent.
Generational talent that's going to be spotted in a random, house
gym
league
somewhere.
or tournament somewhere. And
get the NIL deal.
But what's worse is when those parents sign up to coach. And that gets to where you were talking about is that dichotomy is then, okay, well, if I know that my club team has a coach whose son is in it and, he's clearly favoring his son, now that becomes a difficult thing to manage, especially when I'm investing a lot of money.
Correct. The
one thing I actually like is I don't know what the exact reasons were, but our coach, his son isn't on our team.
Okay.
His assistant's son is. And I think maybe his son decided he didn't want to play, or maybe there was some conflict or something, but the coach decided to keep coaching. And so then it's great because there's no favoritism. Obviously he wants to put in better lineups to try to win, but there's certain playing time rules that you have to hit. Everybody has to sit at least one quarter, I think is one of the primary ones. So I remember him going into the fourth, did everybody sit a quarter? Okay, great. Now I'm putting my power.
Yeah.
He didn't say that, but sure. he asked the question and I'm sure in his mind, great. Now I can put in my power lineup.
Correct.
And see if we can get our first dub.
Right.
But yeah, you get coaches like that are of course they're using that to spotlight their kid, hopefully to show. But listen, no matter what, and this will be what I would say to you as a AAU ball dad with your son too, is no matter what, the cream is always going to rise to the top.
Oh yeah.
And so even though there's this experience that I know you're frustrated about because we were talking a little bit about it off air before we started, no matter how it pans out, the unseen work that you've told me, and I know it's things that are happening, the cream will rise to the top one day. And those kids who may have got the special treatment when their daddy was a coach are going to be in for a rude awakening when their daddy's not the coach.
Correct. And that's the part I wanted to highlight was 100% everything you said. And the part that I want to add to that is the message that you're teaching your kid, the expectations in his mind that you're setting. Oh, I'm always going to get that pass until that rude awakening comes. Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm not good enough because I've been coddled this whole way through. But I'm at that point where, oh snap, that's right. My dad's not here to get my back. He's not here to save me anymore. He can't save me anymore. Mm-hmm. Now what do I do?
Right.
And I've never faced that adversity, so I don't know how to adjust. And what's going to happen? I'm going to fall off the bench. But some kid who's been working hard quietly is going to come in and take that spot. Because like you said, the cream always rises to the top. The basketball gods know, or whatever sport gods know, and the game will always reward you, right? You can't cheat the game. But I feel like they're teaching them to cheat the game because daddy's always got my back. However, until daddy ain't got your back, daddy's nowhere to be seen or can't be found, right? Because his powers don't work anymore.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think, and on the flip side though, selfishly, that's so that lesson may who knows, may or may not for those kids, those two kids, but the lesson is even more impactful for your son.
Oh yeah,
sitting there watching it because now he's like, oh, okay, well, just like when we joked and we told him before we got started and everything about remember MJ got cut.
Yeah,
Kobe had the not scoring but again, now it's like, well, how did you feel about it? I didn't like it. Okay, what are you gonna do with that, right? And now he can learn that lesson funny. And fuel him even more. It's crazy.
That's so funny you say that because I was like, you and I know this really well. What do they always say, right? Not to get us mad.
Yeah.
Right? Matt, what is Matt? Matt is to
shout out to Matt.
Shout out to Matt. Always saying it, right? To everybody. Just don't talk to them. Don't get them mad. Right? Because that's the fuel. Like we need that fuel, those doubters, those haters who want to say they smug, right? Or whatever, they're not good enough, or they're not, right? They're not good enough.
Hypothetically.
Right? Hypothetically, yeah.
Hypothetically.
right? Or they're not good enough. They can't do it. Well, guess what? After we hand these L's, plural, have a nice day.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that's it. And I asked him, I was like, listen, you know the best way to get back? What's the best way to get back? Is to go kill the coach's son on the court.
In practice.
Destroy him. Destroy him on practice. And then
but he already does.
He does though, right? And he's so mild-mannered. Like, I'm such an a-hole. Like, after I do it, after every play, I look at my coach and smile at him. Every play. Every time I bust him up, his son up, I look at him. This is who you're going to put in front of me? This?
So
this?
That's one thing I would love for him to say next practice. Next time he busts him up in practice.
Oh, no, I'll talk trash for him.
And say, you let me play 8 minutes?
Yeah. For this?
Instead of this?
Well, you know what, though? At the same time, the results speak for themselves because we've been taking L after L after L after L. We are a professional L team at this point. We have played 6 games, and I think we've taken 5 L's.
So I would think that the program director would want to correct that.
Unless it's a pay for play.
But again, like how do you continue to market yourself as an organization that parents would want to put their kids in if number one, there's challenges with playing time. Because I heard that too. I mean, we're like, a whole year past?
Yeah.
Last spring, when I came to the one and only tournament that we watched, right? What happened in between games?
Same story.
Yeah. And then they were giving preferential treatment to the one kid who was getting all the playing time, who they ended up cutting.
And guess
later.
what? They cut him.
They cut him later, which is crazy.
Or he left. Whatever the case may be. Yeah.
But his dad was in the coach's ear the whole time during the break.
Yeah.
And then there was some other kid that barely played.
Yep.
Who, when both games were over in the hallway, went up to the coach and was like, nah, we need to talk.
Correct.
He was next level pissed.
Yeah,
but
he was. And he should
again,
be.
how do you market yourself as a program that, listen, it'd be one thing if you were like that team, like with a grindhouse or whatever, and you just like come onto the floor and you kill kids.
But
like,
we're not. We're getting killed.
We're not, right? I'm saying
we're getting killed.
It would be one thing if like your program was so high functioning that it was so competitive that it would be, like, look, you really got to justify. You really have to earn your spot to make it. But if you're taking L after L after L and you haven't won a game, then
the coaches may be inept. Maybe. Because they don't know how to work their lineups, or there's the preferential treatments not paying off.
Right.
Whatever the case is.
But either way, no matter what, I think
the cream rises to the top.
The message is there, but again, it's up to parents, it's up to the coaches to do what they think is best for their kids, for their program, whatever. But selfishly for you and my little nephew, listen, he gonna be better for it. Like it's a temporary. Like, it sucks that he had to sit on the bench. Like, it pisses me off as his non-blood uncle. But that's my man's, right? I want to see him play. But
the thing that makes it worse is, sorry to cut you off, is that the kid kills everybody on the roster in practice. He kills everybody.
But you know what?
That's the
fact that I'm glad it happened because I know him enough that this is gonna take that next level motivation for him.
Oh yeah.
Maybe this is what he'll need to become more mentally tough, more vocal and outspoken to say, no, I'm gonna fight for mine. And whenever I prove that I'm better, I'm gonna let you know.
Correct.
Otherwise, if I don't have any reason to mess with you, I'm gonna be quiet, cool.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be chill. But when you give me a reason, I'm gonna talk back.
That's so funny.
And I know he's gonna listen to this, and that's why I'm these are my messages to him.
Coming from another mouth other than mine, because I've been saying it. And I'm a trash talker. I'm a big trash talker. But only when I'm spoken to. I'll be quiet the whole game until I'm spoken to, which is why Matt gives the disclaimer before every game. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
And we saw a little bit of it. Remember when in one of the games where the kid talked to him, oh, you're about to take your first L?
Yeah.
And he went down and killed him.
Yeah. Well.
So
I think we were gonna win that game comfortably regardless.
We were, but that was just a little extra. And that kid's coach was like, "Did you just say that to Tej? Like, why are you saying to him?"
Right.
So hopefully he does it in practice. we'll see if the changes need to be made. But that was my experience as an AAU parent, as well as being a coach on the flip side. So I'm kind of living two lives at once.
Yeah.
So I'm understanding both sides of the situation, the formula or the situation.
Yep.
And that's my message to, if you're gonna coach evenly, right? Don't favor.
Yeah.
Right? Coach with what the game needs, what the team needs, not what your personal agenda is.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't help anybody. It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It only teaches bad habits. So.
Yeah. If for me being on the other side, I think besides the reasons that I did it, the only struggle that I have is that the coach in me wants to like coach.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's another thing too. And something I have to be mindful to when I'm coaching again, knock on wood. Well, we'll probably
we might do a little collab again. Yeah.
But but just understanding that like for some parents, it might be hard for them to not talk because they're coaches too. And like I want to talk to the refs. I want to get like the coach in me. I literally told our coach after the game when we finally won. And I said, oh, finally, it feels like the game was better officiated. There's still some iffy things, but like it was better officiated. It was more fair and balanced. I said, because the last couple of games, I was like, the coach in me has been dying inside, and you've been handling it amazingly well. But the coach in me from the sidelines has been like just dying. Like I've had to hold it in to not go nuts, and I don't want to get, number one, I don't want to get kicked out, or I don't want to, penalize you guys in the team. But it's hard to, if you are a coach, then it's harder, in my opinion, to then sit there on the side, because not only do you want your kid to get better, but like I'm invested in the whole team. And I feel like a coach, but I'm not actually coaching. So it's a little bit weird. So I think if you're, I guess my advice then would be, if you are experiencing that, you got to just make sure you hold it back. Because there's another parent who I don't know if he coaches or not, or if he's just very outspoken, but he's consistently like, you should do this, you should do that. He almost got into it with the refs. Like, ref came over, was like, what's the issue? And he was like, no, I'm just saying. And I've just noticed he talks a lot.
Okay.
And like, I don't want to be like quite that, but
he's the backseat driver.
Yeah. And it's just, it's, you're not the coach. So,
right. You're not the coach. And I just want to add one thing about like the whole, I'm at that point where I'm considering, because as I've told you before, right? I believe in getting practice in reps, right? I'm not this whole like AEU money grab, let's go have tournaments and charge people to come and watch their own kid play, like that whole dynamic. And then the whole money side of it, I feel like has really polluted basketball.
Don't you have to pay twice? Because isn't there like a tournament fee for the team? No,
they handle that.
So you just pay at the door?
We just pay at the door to go be in.
Because I know some of the tournaments, like if you want to participate, they'll charge you.
The team handles that.
Okay.
Right. And I'm not sure what those dynamics are on the back end. But again, where there's money involved, things are generally, there's some sort of politics and dirty play and some sort of, other agendas at play.
Yeah.
So I'm not a fan of this whole like, let's have 20 tournaments. I'm just not. I'm not. This is why I can't watch youth sports like at even the higher, like more, this ranked kid. This whole like switching teams, playing tournament after tournament. I don't feel like that's not, you got to put in the reps. And it's funny because Europe does it completely opposite. They don't play competitively till they're like 15. All they do is work on their fundamentals, their game, and learning the game, properly cutting, backdoor screen, this, that. And they don't play competitive till they're 15. So think about that. That's how much from the age of 10, 9, 8 o'clock, 8 probably I'd say, right? 7, 8, you start your kid as some sort of league, and then he gets into AAU, or he or she by 9-ish, 10-ish. 5 years. 5 years of tournaments versus 5 years of learning the game ground up fundamentals daily. So they have six to 8 practices a week. Whereas we do 2 practices a week and 2 to 3 games a weekend. When are you getting better?
Right.
This is why European players are taking over the league. Think about it. Your top NBA players are mostly what? European players. MVP race. Who's in the MVP race?
Well, you starting a whole nother argument.
But think about it.
When we only
Jokic,
got a couple minutes left, and you starting a whole new argument.
Luka, Jokic, Embiid, Giannis. Where are they from? Not the States.
Yeah.
Not the States. Right? These are your top players. Right now. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not opening that door with you because if not, our friend Antonio might be mad at us because he might be.
I probably got some people mad already. It's all good. Whatever.
But that might be another one for another day. We could get into.
No.
Because I think there's definitely things. I think there's things that can be said on both sides of that. But I definitely agree with some of the points of just focusing on the development rather than the politics, and that all the kids listen. My thing with, and maybe we could just kind of leave it with this. When I was coaching football, right? Because you got a much bigger group of kids than you got for basketball, all there for different reasons with different skill sets. Because I was coaching the younger kids, most of them this is their first time playing. Some of them don't even watch football, and you got to understand to meet them where they are. But at the end of the day, all their parents pay the same amount.
Correct.
And I think that there's the only way that you can get equity in that is making sure. So like I made sure that every kid had a position.
There you go.
It may not be everybody's preferred position, but you were either on offense or defense.
Have a role,
right?
Yeah.
And then we had a couple that were able to play both, right?
Right.
So everybody had a role and everybody got to play something on the team.
Yeah.
But is everybody the quarterback? No. Is everybody the running back?
Correct.
No. Is everybody the wide receiver?
That's your skill set,
right?
And as a coach,
But everybody got to have their own role in play. So when the offense is on the field, they got every game. They got to play half and half, whether it was offense or defense, depending on how many possessions we got. You got to be equitable.
Absolutely.
Because, even if they're not good now, they might develop it.
Absolutely.
Who knows?
And can I just piggyback one last thing on this? Sorry, Antonio. But one last thing is that if you're going to coach, allow the kid to make a mistake. Allow him to develop through his mistakes, right? Be that encouraging voice in his head. Don't be there that coach is going to punish me. That kid will never love to play. He will never enjoy playing, and you won't enjoy having him on your team.
Or he's going to develop bad habits.
Correct. So please allow if you're a coach, allow the kids to make a mistake, teach them through it, guide them through it, be that kind voice in their head, and then explain it how to correct it. Sir?
Listen, I'm not trying to upset Antonio. That's all I got.
Okay, that's all you got. All right. Well, once again, we appreciate you guys joining us. Remember to subscribe. Help us reach our stretch goal. Right, we got about a month and 3 weeks, I say. Ish,
something like
little
that.
over.
Yeah.
Almost right. So if you can help us reach our stretch goal, and then we can go from there. Right, reaching these milestones, those goals, and reaching new people, new places, and just kind of spreading the word. Spread the word. So with that, remember to subscribe, like, share, tell a friend, phone a friend, call a friend.
All of it.
All of that. All right. At Think RBA and all social media platforms. So with that, sir, anything else?
That's it.
Think RBA.
Think RBA.
Peace.
Okay, peace.
Peace.